Munson and the Geezer. Munson and the Geezer. Reporting from the scene. Munson and the Geezer. News in every ride.
Munson and the Geezer. My kids sing it now, you know. Hi.
Good. So
what are you doing with those? What?
I was just running with
those.
I was running with them. We're
just being naughty. And just
That's what we want. We want the kids to be like skippity riz, Ohio, Munson and the Geezer.
That's what we. Yeah, it's what's the other word? My kids hate it when I even utter those words.
Oh, you got to do it.
It's just like, it's really interesting, isn't it, from generation to generation, how they kind of reserve words for themselves, and it's really
and they get annoyed. This is why you have to learn guitar as well, because then you can do this.
Sigma. Are you a Sigma axe player?
What is that Sigma shit? Have you ever watched a video about Sigma?
We're not.
I like Sigma. It's just they're just talking about introverts. That's all a Sigma is. And they're making this big thing about, oh yeah, it's this guy who like walks alone. It's like, yeah, because he's got no friends. He doesn't know how to talk to people.
Oh, nice reframe. I don't know what Jackie.
No, but you got to do this like appetite. Have your kids into this stupid song?
No, not yet.
Don't you know that I want you, baby? Don't you know that I need you now? You don't know that one? Don't you know that I... It's.
Are you going to be singing this in San Martino on the 15th?
I might do it just to embarrass Gav.
Great, excellent. Okay,
but yeah, no. It's terrible. It's by Blackpink, I think her name is, and Bruno Mars.
Oh,
and it's one of those. She's South Korean, and APT is like their nickname for apartment. But she's singing it like appetite.
Are they trying to crack each other's market?
Yeah, I guess so. It seems to be working.
Well, that's good.
It's one of those songs. I hate it, but technically you can't complain about it. I mean, it's like Baby Shark. I mean, it's genius. You hate it, but it's genius.
If I start singing that, my kids will say, "How do you know that?" And I'll say, "My mate Tony taught me it."
Yeah, you got to know it.
Don't you know?
I'm Sigma. Tell them I'm mogging them. I'm mogging them as we speak. Yeah. I'm mogging them. I've got the riz. You can measure my riz.
Without you, I really don't. So thank you very much for saving my
Sigma riz, Ohio, for some reason.
I mean, what were the words of our time? What did you have as a kid? Cool.
I can't remember. Yeah, there weren't that many. There was like mint, really good.
Or cool. Well good, man. That is well good.
Well good might have been a little bit
good. Yeah.
You're all right, mate. I don't know. These ones are kind of timeless, aren't they?
And watch it was a bit earlier on. Hi there, guys. Nice to get a chance to watch you. Usually in Portuguese lessons on a Tuesday. So we've got Pete.
We're pleasing some of the people some of the time, because I know there are some people who don't like the Monday slot. But it's good to know. Right. Yeah, isn't there someone? Isn't it? You know, it might be crypto. Might be crypto like the Monday slot, which is a shame.
Well, that's show business. That's show business.
He's the only person I know who's ruder than me.
Really? That's going some, isn't it? All right.
He's hardcore.
Jackie,
go on then, Jackie. How you doing?
Well, I think she's angling for us to do her a private show. If the price is right, Jackie, we'll be your private dancers, like your private live streamers. No touching, but we will live stream for you.
Well, I don't mind a bit of touching, to be honest.
Okay.
What was that? I used to love that song. Touch my dollars. American Express will do nicely, thank you. Let me loosen up your collar.
It's like having her in the room. This is amazing. Keep going.
Yeah.
I like the opening of that. All the men come in these places.
And the men are all the same.
Which is what we're talking about tonight if we get round to it. But first of all, the first
yeah.
30 minutes of Munson the Geezer is Tony cleaning his pipes. So he's got a lot
That
of
was me
commitment.
clearing my pipes just then. Did you hear me?
Yeah, but you also like to let off a bit of steam about. I mean, you made a cracking video today. I really could feel the energy of your tariff video, your Trump tariff video. Very good, very strong, very strong.
Well, I did open with a point, which was to say I don't know what I'm talking about, which I think is very important because no, but haven't you noticed? I think it was I first really noticed this during the old jibby jab time, the jibby jab time.
Yeah,
which was I thought, oh, this is really interesting because my mate Phil's an artist, my mate Kelly's a social worker, and my mate Chris is a music teacher. What's the odds that all of them are experts on virology?
It was uncanny, wasn't it?
It was
I made a clip of that intro of yours, which is fantastic. They've gone from Middle East experts, Middle East conflict experts, to Ukrainian Russia experts, to vaccination experts, and now they're tariff experts, aren't they?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. So so I made a point of saying I also don't know what I'm talking about, but what I wanted to kind of say was that for a long time I've been pro tariffs, but to be honest with you, I agree with most people that these tariffs aren't really, because I would put 100% tariffs on China. In fact, bollocks to the tariffs. I would just say no. We're not buying anything from China.
Wow, that'd be
yeah.
Very
well,
strong.
do you know why? Because I honestly and firmly believe that I remember when I was growing up in Australia, for example, they had this thing called the birthmark that would be on certain it's not certain ladies, on certain products in the shop. It was called the birthmark.
Yeah.
So what you would do is you would look out for it, and there was two that they were like a little shape of Western Australia, and one of them was black and yellow, and one of them was white and yellow, I think. Yeah. And one of them meant made in Western Australia, and the other one meant the company that owned it was. So that was the next best thing, even though it may be stuff from abroad. At least it was an Australian owned
hierarchy of loyalty.
Yeah, so the idea was, and it was a very mainstream idea in those days, that you tried to buy local, and even when you say it, what's weird is when you say this on a local level. Well, I say, look, why we should really try and support mom and pop shops in Portugal first, shouldn't we? Yes. Yeah. And then I can even go to other countries. Like when I was last in Bali, I remember being in Ubud and all the kind of, millionaire Western hippie idiots that are living there who were holding up signs, everywhere going, oh, make sure you buy from the locals, and these would be the same people who are bleating against Donald Trump at the moment, I'm sure. All he's saying is buy local. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Let's have companies in our own countries employing.
I've not heard him say that. Is he saying that?
Well, he talks about bringing business back to the US, doesn't he?
Okay, yeah, right.
Yeah, he wants to bring industry back. Okay.
Oh, it's got very controversial now. Look, I love Chinese products. So glad my Tesla was manufactured in China. This is going to be difficult for Elon, isn't it? Rather than by those lazy, shoddy Yanks. There are American friends here watching, Peter. Please modify your language and attitude. I think he's only joking. For the Americans who are watching, that's just Pete's way of being sort of blokey and British. He doesn't mean any harm.
Yeah, the problem is it's like I was trying to say in the video is we've sold our souls really because all that we really get. And listen, I'm, to be honest with you, I'm not saying there aren't some quality things made in China. Of course there are some good quality things made in China, but generally speaking, we've sold our souls to consumerism. Okay. And you always have to ask yourself, who is this benefiting? Is it really, are they doing it for your benefit, or do they just want you to spend? Well,
you made that point. You made that point very well today. Anyone who thought that the politicians might actually care for them, you gave them a rude awakening, did you not? I think in your video.
Well, of course. But one thing I'm looking at with Trump, let me give you an example of this. Right, I sometimes say, because I'm a freelance English teacher, right? I'm a freelance English teacher, so I'm self-employed, and how it works is, if you, as an English teacher who's self-employed, work against the interest of your students, I promise you're going to be out of work very quickly. So success.
What would that look like, though? What would that look like? You just like you
I,
weren't very
I,
good.
I don't know. Yeah, just don't do any lesson plans.
Yeah.
I don't know, go to lessons without planning.
Yeah.
Kind of don't keep
Sit
abreast
there.
of latest updates to exams.
Yeah.
Be
Teaching the
like
wrong stuff.
rock up late.
Yeah,
You
like
know
the
what I mean?
teachers in my school.
all,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
all this kind of stuff, right? So
Mm.
to be a successful, when you are a freelance teacher, you have to build a pipeline. It's like a sales pipeline, and how that works is, after some time, you have a kind of critical mass of students, so you don't have to kind of advertise anymore, and you've usually students come and go, but you tend to have about the same amount of students, and your income kind of stabilizes, right? Where you want it, right?
Yeah.
Now, to do that, you have to do a good job. The parents need to be seeing the results at school for the students that you're doing exams with. They need to be getting good results in exams, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, it could be a different kind of strategy. If you're already a powerful, wealthy person, it's possible. Now, I'm not saying this is what's happening, but it's possible that you might think, well, I'm already wealthy and powerful, so I'm going to go the other way, and I'm going to try and make America into a success, and that's how I'm going to create my legacy.
Yeah. Okay.
And there seem to be a lot of people very, very upset with Trump for doing things that I can't understand what they have a problem with. Why don't they have a problem with this?
Well, I think I can answer that. And this is what I was getting from your video, is you don't really have any skin in the game. You can look at it quite conceptually, can't you, as some ideas that might make the country work well, but that doesn't factor in the private and individual struggles of people who are affected by some of the decisions that are being made, right?
There's always winners and losers.
Oh yeah, no question. But I think that's it. I think people who are emotionally invested and are very upset at the moment are doing so on the basis that they are taking it personally, because they see themselves as personally connected and involved with what's going on in a way that you probably can't, can you? It'd be very difficult for you to work up an emotional investment with what goes on in the United States. It's very much a conceptual thing for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And to be honest, I don't really want to work up an emotional investment.
Oh, yeah, you've got other things to put that into, haven't you?
Yeah. But I just
that's the difficulty, isn't it? When you've got two people having a conversation about it, and it's not clear that we're talking about political concepts which may work or not work. That's when you're discussing that with somebody whose daughter or son or a brother is being laid off by one of the cuts. It's very difficult for that person to have a conversation with you on the same level that you're trying to have it, I think.
Yeah. I get that.
I'm not saying right or wrong.
No. I do get that. I do get that. But I suppose I'm not talking really about individuals.
No, you're talking about politically, conceptually.
I'm talking about a group. But I have said to people, for example, in another way, I abstained from the Brexit vote. But I lost when the UK left the EU. I lost personally.
And the point you're making is that
I was prepared to abstain because I could understand the point of view of particularly friends and family of mine who live in the north of England, who feel like they've benefited absolutely nothing from.
And you have the courage of your convictions to feel the pain. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, I think that I had empathy, so I thought, well, I don't want to, because selfishly, very little about being in or out of the EU affects me, except I highly value that freedom of movement. I put a high value on it, but I also had to recognize that I'm one of a very, very tiny percentage of people who actually, as much as it's hyped up, the vast majority of people who are British never come to the EU to live and work.
Is that sort of analogous with Americans who don't have passports, really?
I think there's a big difference between going to Spain on holiday and moving to Europe. You know what I mean?
Yes,
And
of course. Okay, I get you. Which both you and I have benefited from, without
and
question.
and also the reality is for a lot of people, it's not a shut door, because, for example, I've lived and worked in countries that aren't in the EU, and I had a thing called a working visa. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've worked in Canada, I've worked in the USA, and they are not in the. Do you know what I mean? So it's not a shut door. So there was a lot of misinformation coming from the side that says all the misinformation is on the other side as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
And again,
for a lot,
it was people arguing in the same way that I was not accusing you of, but illustrating to you. You have people who have a very emotional attachment to what they're talking about, and people with a conceptual. And those two worlds really struggle to be in the same conversation, don't they? It gets people very upset. Yeah.
Well, I've already had it on my YouTube channel. I've had people saying to me, for example, I don't know why I feel the
You
need
did
to
warn
do it
them.
in this.
You
I'm going to do it in this. I'm going to do it in this fake voice.
Really
I've got no idea
up,
what voice.
ham it up, as you might
No,
imagine.
but this guy's like, oh, geezer, you hypocrite. You're benefiting from globalization right now. Look at you with your YouTube channel, and you're on. And I'm like, dude, do you know what? I also like motorcycling, but you know what? When it's raining, I go in the car. It's kind of like, yeah, but you know what? This is a problem, though, is people are so all or nothing.
Yes.
It's like
not here. We are not black and
white. You're either 100% George Soros globalist, or you're a hermit living in a tree. They're your only choices.
Yeah. We've got comments, Tony.
Can't we take the good and the bad from both?
No, sorry,
both sides?
not when somebody wants to take a chunk out of you. They would take the easiest shot, don't they? It's like Occam's shotgun or something. The easiest solution is the one they'll take.
Occam's shotgun. Yeah. Yes, I like that.
Would
you coin that one?
Yeah, no, that's original. But you can have that for your next video.
Go on then. I'll definitely try and use that. Yeah.
Shotgun. Why don't we dare each other to include things in our next video? So can you use Occam shotgun in your next, and I'll do something on the. What would you like to say tomorrow on the?
I used to have I had a pal in. I'm not saying. Well, I'm saying I used to have a pal. He's still my pal, I suppose.
You hope so, right?
Neil, if you're watching,
maybe not after this. Let's see.
But he used to do a bit in the was it the Bucks Free Press he used to write in? I can't remember. He was I don't know how he got this
Buckinghamshire.
Buckingham, of course, Buckinghamshire. My goodness,
that maybe sounds like it's quite Aussie as well. The Bucks Free Press.
Well, that's just the accent, mate. I can't remember if it was the Wickham Star, because Wickham Star's the smaller one. It might have been the.
We're talking big time then.
No, it was the Bucks Free. It was the Bucks for sure. It was the Bucks Free. Wickham Star's a bit local. It was the Bucks Free.
Living, right? Yes. You could get a TV guide in both of them, don't you? And lots of adverts.
But he used to do the movie reviews in the Bucks Free Press, and I can't remember. He had about 100 words or something. I can't remember. But it was popular though. It was popular, you know. His
words. That's a skill. Writing a movie. I mean, I've just done. I do 1,000 words a week for The Resident. And sometimes that's a little bit of a struggle. It's not interminable or stressful, but doing it in 100 would be a lot more stressful than 1,000.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was more.
The brevity.
I can't remember. I can't
anyway,
remember. No, do you know what? Anyway, every week, because he was like one of our group that used to go to the pub and that, and every week we'd challenge him to try and fit a random phrase in.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. And it could be like I don't know,
loose end prop, tight head prop, or something like that.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Exactly like that. Yeah, and he'd do it. He
American football one. Yeah,
he'd do it. He'd do it. Yeah, he was good. He was good at
slightly cynical, a seasoned journalist by the sound of it, who's happy to do that.
Well, he was funny because he wanted to be a journalist. I don't think he ever became a journalist, but he aspired to be a journalist. But he used to. Neil,
we need to bring him on. Neil, come on, mate. If you're watching,
I'll tell you what. I'll drop him. I haven't spoken to him for a long time actually, but he's the type of guy who'd probably come on.
Yeah, let's introduce him.
But he worked for Biffa. You know Biffa?
Yeah, I've got a mate called Briffa, and yes, so I do know what you mean. Those are the dumpsters and the waste management.
Yeah. So he used to work in waste management, and he wanted to be a journalist. You know,
journalism, waste management. I don't know. You know, the parallels are there, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
if
yeah.
he was
To
in
be
if he
fair,
was in PR, I guess that would be more of a parallel with waste management.
yeah. I mean, he was admin. He didn't get his hands dirty as far as I remember, but it was
Right.
just kind of
We
like
must bring him on. We know so much about him. We try and get him on next week.
he wanted to get out of he wanted to
Well,
get
let's
out of
find
Biffa
out.
and
You see,
into
people
journalism.
make
Maybe he's
news.
a journalist now. I don't know.
We want to know what happened to Neil. And if anyone else has got any friends that they haven't spoken to for a while and you'd like us to get in touch with them, find out what they're up to, please drop us a line. We're happy to do
Hey,
that.
it's a good idea if you guys, you know, if anyone's got anyone more interesting than me and Carl, I mean, you must be able to
Hard
find
to
someone,
imagine,
right? Get them get them get them on.
Let's get them on. Right, okay, then get them off. Okay. Would you really buy a British-made car? I'm not sure. I mean, you're going back a few years, Pete. You've got a Chinese-made Tesla. It's not as if you've got the choice. Like, shall I go for a Morris Marina or shall I go for a Tesla? That's like two different time zones, isn't it? Two different periods of history.
I would TVR.
What you go for a British? Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough.
I would buy.
exceptions.
What about BMW Minis? They're made in Headington, but Oxford, you could say.
Yeah, but everyone knows you're not really driving a British car.
Well, what Solar Life said was British made.
Oh,
I
okay,
don't know.
No,
Yeah, so
well done
I'm
picking up on that. All right, chat about Temu.
but I would, yeah, I would.
There you go then. Most people do not understand Trump. Okay, good. Thank you for helping us here. Udith Fonseca Hatton Candy Sri Lanka. For example, he doesn't not actually want Greenland. I mean, just because he says he wants it doesn't mean he really wants it. He would like either a couple of long-term leases. Oh, that's different then, isn't it? For military bases. Or
Yeah.
Denmark to spend more money on Greenland defense. Yeah, he has a habit, doesn't he, of simplifying things would be a kind way of putting it.
I agree with you, Udith. I even think that although I made a video saying I really like the idea of tariffs, I don't actually believe that long term Trump wants to keep those tariffs. I think he wants those countries just to do what he wants them to do, and then he will, lift. You've got to be so careful with this Elon Musk hand wave these days. But he's lost my train of thought now. Yeah. No.
I know that moment.
He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to actually tariff these countries. He wants them to just do what he wants. He wants them to stop.
Game of chess.
Yeah. He wants to control the border, and he wants them to.
Around. He is throwing the pawns around at the moment, isn't he? Early days. Two squares here, two squares there. A bit of a weird move on the rook or whatever, and then confuse everybody, and then checkmate. Right? Yeah. Do you want to sell your junk, Tony? By the way, are you on OnlyFans? Are you selling your junk as we speak?
I don't know why I haven't got an OnlyFans account.
I don't know why you haven't. Tony fans. Basically, Tony fans on OnlyFans. Why don't we start one as an experiment?
I actually briefly just for the humor value, I thought about it. I thought about it, and I started to sign up. But do you know why I didn't? And this is going to sound really pathetic in a way.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
I didn't sign up to it because I honestly, I know how this sounds, but I honestly believe I believe it's an evil thing. An evil platform.
We're far better off on YouTube, aren't we?
So I just I mean, not saying YouTube's not, but I just think I've seen a few videos on OnlyFans, no, not on OnlyFans, on YouTube talking about the damage that happens to young women on OnlyFans, and I just think
because of OnlyFans. It's interesting, isn't it? And this might be the topic that we eventually get to: is are men only interested in one thing? Clearly not, because we barely mentioned. Well, we've talked about private dancer and now OnlyFans, so maybe we are only interested in one thing ultimately. But yeah, that's a whole can of worms. I mean, were they going to be hurting themselves anyway? And they found OnlyFans as a way of doing it, or did they get onto
OnlyFans? Is just another thing, isn't it? It's just another mind virus, isn't it? In a way, it's just another. It's a product of this. I mean, this is the problem. I think it would be really easy to kind of blame men, but I don't know. I suppose not many men would own up to watching OnlyFans, would they? I don't know. Carl's frozen, or have I frozen? Is Carl frozen, or have I frozen? Am I frozen? Can anyone tell me? I'm assuming because no one's answering me that I've frozen. Uh-oh. Yeah, crypto. That's right. That's right. Yeah. In Japan, there would be a. I'm not frozen. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So it's Carl again. Yeah. I was just gonna. All I was thinking was that I don't know. I mean, I don't think I've ever asked anybody whether they are a viewer, a consumer of OnlyFans content. But I imagine that a lot of men who are consumers wouldn't own up to it. I think. I don't know. It would be probably a bit embarrassing, wouldn't it? I think his connection is singing "Let It Go, Let It Go." Yeah, yeah. But yeah, generally speaking, I've seen quite a few YouTube videos where they speak to women who've been on OnlyFans, and not just ones who've not been successful. Some have been really successful and made a lot of money, and they tend to regret it and feel like they kind of sold their soul. I don't think Carl is using Starlink, but he does seem to be having problems with his connection recently. We should really find out who he's with so that we can all avoid it. Although I'm not sure one person's experience is enough. I use who am I with? I'm with Mayo, and I've heard lots of people complain about the quality of Mayo. Where we've been with Mayo, I think, for 3 years, and I've really got zero complaints. So yeah, a wall of silence and denial. Yeah, OF is the same. But I mean, there's obviously a lot of people who do use it, because I know that some women make millions and millions. But what I saw on I can't even remember the channel on YouTube, is that apparently most of the women who go on OnlyFans end up you know, showing their body off and all the rest of it, and make peanuts, sort of the same as me and Carl on YouTube. Yeah. I mean,
without the glamour.
Without the glamour. I mean, at least we haven't got our bits out. I mean, I did just then while you were offline. But
seriously, I'll watch I'll watch the replay later. I always miss the best bits when the internet crashes, don't you? Right, we've got loads of comments. Really,
I've got fiber freedom. Yeah, I've got fiber. Yeah,
I need more fiber in my internet diet. Clearly,
I need it because I teach online, so I can't really have
that happening. Yeah,
kind of what happens to
I don't know. I've never happened to. Well, it has happened to me before. It doesn't happen that often. I think it's something to do. There's a time of the evening here.
I have to admit, it hasn't happened since last week. So
very good.
It is.
I wasn't even here last week. I was in the car, wasn't I? Last week.
Oh yeah. Well, that works well on the phone.
In Peniche.
I'm in Peniche, outside Continente, not far from Pingadose.
But Shirley, you understand that the consumers ultimately pay the tariffs, and with an electricity infrastructure in Portugal owned by the Chinese, what's your God? They're already.
I understand solar, but as I said, right, like, look, go back to another way of looking at it. I don't like income tax, right? I would prefer a flat VAT. Yeah. If we had to have any tax at all, I would rather governments found some other way to fund themselves than taking people's income. I do think there are other ways, probably with like land tax or planning permit. Like in Hong Kong, they do it through land tax and planning. How
about subscription? How about subscription, Tony? Now we've got the blockchain. Why not? Why shouldn't the countries advertise and promote themselves and attract citizens and say, look, for a subscription of this much a month, we will provide you with the following services?
But what it is I've heard, for example, this is what I heard yesterday. Oh, don't you know that 90% of your avocados come from Mexico, and now they're going to go up in price by 25%? Well, you know what? Don't buy avocados.
Ooh,
if you want to buy them, buy them.
Yes,
that is choice. Income tax is not choice. Okay, so I would prefer tariff based. I don't care if luxury items, because I think avocado is a luxury item. If it doesn't grow near where you live, it's a luxury item. You know what I mean? The same people who tend to complain about this stuff also tend to be the same people who are tree hugging greenies, aren't they? You know, but it's like,
Well,
oh
they
yeah, I don't
can
mind
be.
it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that drives me nuts as well was, who's going to, these illegal immigrants are the only ones who work on these farms. If your business, right, can't be viable without illegal immigrants working on your farm, you or any business, your business is just not viable.
Well,
That's
yeah,
it.
you got a point there, mate.
Do you know what I mean? You can't open a business and go, oh look, I've got this business idea, and this is how my business model works, because it looks like when you look at the numbers, you can see that it's not going to make a lot of profit. But if I just put 10 illegals in there working for €2 an hour, and I put them in the backyard sleeping in a shipping container, well, I can make some money here.
That is the conundrum of the Californian left, isn't it? Because it's like, well, we can't send everyone home because then we'd have no one driving the economy. And they say, well, if everyone driving the economy is badly paid and badly treated, is that a good economy?
Yeah, and their answer is yes. But that is their answer, because they want those people to be future voters. There's no other explanation. Because it's so disgustingly hypocritical, and it just drives me nuts that people can't see the cognitive dissonance of the thing. You know, it's even the same as everyone's a tree hugger, and it's like, oh yeah, but we want, and then they're offshoring industry, so they're buying clothing and they're buying goods that are made in countries where, for example, China's a good example, isn't it? They what is it? They open a new coal-fired power station every day or something. You know what I mean? So what we're basically doing is we're offshoring our manufacturing jobs. We're offshoring the chance for entrepreneurs to open businesses in our own country to countries that have less
rigorous standards,
standards for employment, and less rigorous standards for
we like it that way.
Environmentalism. And then the same politicians will say to us, look how good we are, because here, you're using a paper straw or whatever. It's bollocks. Fucking wake up.
All right, that's got him going. Canada has tariffs of 200.
Plucking. I said plucking.
On dairy, we're finished, mate. On dairy cheese. He will not say this, but that is something he would like to be fixed. How does Udith know all this, as well as Canada, to weigh up its defense budget? Okay, so another chess move, right? So by shouting about tariffs, Canada will say, okay, we're going to put our defense budget up, and we're going to change our dairy. And I imagine is this famous Canadian cheese? I don't know much about this
Canada cheese.
Yeah, is it a thing?
I don't know. I've never been.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
No, that's not Monterey's not in Canada. I'm thinking of sort of maple leaf cheese. I just don't have it as a.
Have you ever had a look at a map of Canada though? It's so many English names, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it is, and French though. To be fair,
there's probably a cheddar there. There's probably a cheddar there somewhere.
Of course there will be. It depends on the property you get. Come over and have a chat. I wouldn't rush to buy in the UK. Remember, we all have different systems over here. I have it's very specialist, isn't it? Get a room, you two. Talking about flipping solar systems on our chat. A BMW crypto strategist might be grumpy about us being on a Monday, but still here. Thank you, crypto strategist. A car so well made and reliable that it has reasonable secondhand prices. Everything has a reasonable secondhand price here in Portugal.
See, the thing with crypto, you never know what he means by reasonable secondhand prices, because he looks at everything as an investment.
Yeah.
So he might mean that he might either mean the price goes down so you can get them cheap, which is what I would mean by this. But he probably means they hold their value really well.
Yeah. Massive China exposure. Okay. Musk has that. It is literally his only profitable factory. Now he wants access without security vetting to basically all US government data. Yeah, I guess another way of putting it is, what could possibly go wrong?
Right. The only thing I would say to this is I think it's more transparent with Elon Musk. We know what his business interests are. Where with someone like Nancy Pelosi or all the other ones, it seems to be all very cloak and dagger and opaque. So I think that's probably something I would say with Musk is it's very transparent. We know what his business interests are, don't we?
Yeah. Well, okay, but if someone is transparent, does that mean we are accepting?
Yeah, I don't think it does, but I'm saying that if I've got the choice, I mean,
You have a
you know,
transparent, narcissistic,
yeah, exactly.
oligarchical dictator any day who who's self-declared, perhaps. Okay,
Yeah.
Jackie's really putting us off our OnlyFans tonight. I'm just saying, if we went in there, we could it kind of disrupt it. It's like going into a shareholders meeting, isn't it, and exerting a bit of influence. But I take your point. It's a filthy, horrible industry, generally pornography, isn't it? Putting some effort into. Oh no, okay. Turn on, off. What could definitely
On
be
OnlyFans would definitely be
okay.
niche.
Tony on OnlyFans. However, in Japan, there will assuredly be people interested.
Oh,
See,
yeah.
it's always said, isn't it, about Japanese people? I wonder if they've got wind of that yet. You know, that we think, the rest of the world thinks, that there is a fetish that they will appreciate, whatever it is. I think. Anyway.
Yeah, I wonder if they know. That's but I mean, they have what do you call it? They have dispensing machines where you can go put a coin in and you get used women's underwear.
Yeah, is that true though, or is that just one of these silly myths that got started? Have you ever bought a pair of those pants, Tony? Let's put it to the test.
Okay,
You don't have to answer.
Not many, but
we move on. Only because, like crypto strategists, they've got an excellent resale value. Not just an investment, not a perversion. Naturally, ask anyone what type of adult content they prefer. A wall of silence and deny. OnlyFans is the same. A good point there.
Tech in Asia took to the streets of Japan to find out.
I don't want to see that video. Lucky Fiber. Okay, this is going some way back, isn't it? It was when I was unfortunately cut short.
Have you ever heard about the used panty vending machines? They asked on the streets of Tokyo. Instead of shaking their heads in disgust or trying to flag down a police officer, the trio let out a chuckle. The guy to my right pointed a finger over my head. There's one right up there on the 6th floor. He says in a thick German accent. Oh God!
Right.
I don't know if they're really used or not.
Right. I wish I hadn't asked, in a way. Income tax is also a choice. And this is connected to the main. Now it is coming back to, do men only think about one thing? And it does look like that. Income tax is also a choice. You're not liable unless you generate income of designated types. But that's not a choice, though, is it? Well, I guess you choose not to work, so you don't pay income tax, right? In Portugal, crypto assets are not taxed if held for more than 365 days. That works super well. And they're still comparing.
Okay, but then crypto, wouldn't you say this is in this case it's a choice, but definitely not for most people, right? Like, honestly speaking, most of the people who are victims of income tax, you know,
a support group, Tony.
Victims of income tax are usually the working class and
exactly.
and the middle class salaried people, you know,
who was it who
entrepreneur types and wealthy people.
It's expensive being poor. It's that observation, isn't it? I can't remember. Is that a Thomas Sowell or an Oscar Wilde? It could be anyone, couldn't it?
It could be.
John Perrin. It could have been Basil. I say, Mr. Roy, it's very expensive being poor, isn't it? Right.
Hey, did you see that Peter Sellers joke I sent you?
Was it the Pavlova of the parallel bars? Because I didn't get a chance to play.
Was the one he went into the hotel and he's like,
Does your dog bite?
Do you have a ream? It's part of the same bit, yeah. Do you have a ream?
No, but what I pledged to do.
And the man's like, no. And then finally he's got, oh, you mean room? Yes, that's what I said, you idiot. Yes. Now, does your dog bite? No.
It's all about context, isn't it? Oh, you obviously needed a laugh.
I was dying. Yeah. Facebook fed it to me. They knew.
Yeah.
Zuckerberg was looking through the camera.
Didn't watch it, but I'm thinking to myself, okay, I will pledge to watch this with my children, because we've been watching retro movies. Airplane went down fairly well. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang went down especially well. It's the age thing, I suppose. But I will treat them to the Pink Panther. For sure.
Yeah. It's really funny.
I can't remember whether we were assuming that the US has decent labor standards. I'm guessing not. I mean, we were talking about illegal immigrants working and being part of the economy, right?
You know, the thing about it is, it's like, you know, a lot of Americans complain about standards in America, and I think that from what I can see, standards generally in America are not as high as they are in Europe.
Yeah.
Broadly speaking. But I mean, where are you comparing them to? Like compare them to India or Bangladesh?
I mean,
or, you know,
the standard executive working life sounds insufferable, doesn't it? You know,
mm,
working all the time, being available all the time, having a week or 10 days holiday, is it?
no
And
maternity leave,
yeah,
no,
really harsh. I mean,
yeah,
big money. But if you fall off the hamster wheel, you're screwed, aren't you? By the sound of it,
yeah.
you're going
Well, yeah,
homeless.
you know, if you're young and you know you're not risk averse, maybe that's the way to go. I
Well,
was a fan of workplace agreements in Australia. I'm talking on a very lower level, but when I was younger and I was, you know, never felt like I was gonna get ill and all that, I was happy
yeah.
to sign away my rights to sick pay and
Oh
all the
yeah,
rest of it
minimum hours and all
to
that.
it
Yeah,
to earn money, you know, to make more money. Yeah, and it worked for
yeah.
me.
Until you became
Yeah.
a shop steward. Tariffs won't fix anything, says Ricardo Moraes. At which point, Freedom says another tariffs expert has arrived. People that can afford foreign products will still buy them. Just look at Apple. Evening, Freedom. Just look at Apple. Okay.
But it's a choice, Ricardo. No
Some in
one's
the
making
US.
you do it. Do you understand? Of course, some people will buy anything and at
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
time. You know,
Yeah.
I know people who I see poor people with the bloody Apple iPhone 50 or whatever they're up to now. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's just ridiculous. Some people do that all day long. Let them do it. I won't.
Okay, all right, fair enough. So let's
Yeah.
move on then. I think the hose pipe of warm and dirty water is now cleared for the evening. And the point, we are into episode 17 or 18. Do men only think about one thing? And I can't remember why this came up. You sent something to me which made me wonder about that.
Was it like a meme?
It would have been. I suspect so. Yeah, I'm easily
Well,
captured.
well, I remember sending you a meme a while ago that was kind of but it was
So
like it was a
many.
meme, and it was you know everyone's seen that meme of there's a woman and she's kind of looking over her shoulder at her husband or partner who's in bed with her, and he's
Yeah.
facing in the other direction, and she's like,
What
I
is
bet
he
he's
thinking
thinking
about?
about, and
Yes.
then he's like, oh, my motorbike won't start, I don't know what to do, or whatever it is. And
Yes.
in this particular one, she said, I bet he's thinking about other women, and in his head, he was like, must keep going, must try and earn more money,
Yeah,
must
that's right.
I'm just not good enough. I wish I
Yeah,
could do
it's
better
quite
by my
sweet, wasn't it?
kids.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? And there was just
yeah,
10 things like that. And it really
that's
hit
right.
me because I thought I every day I feel like that. You know
Do
what I
you?
mean? Every
Bless you.
day I think like that. Yeah.
Well, that's more in the Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate school, isn't it, than the overly pornographic and disgusting aspects of maledom. It wasn't that though, as it turns out. The meme that you sent me was find a man who has passed his sex craving stage, who craves.
Yeah,
Find
that was
a
funny.
man. Find a man who is this. And so somebody is saying, find a man who has passed his sex craving stage, who craves for a peace of mind, financial stability, and
But it
settling down.
was the reply. It was the
That's right, but
reply.
that's probably a woman talking to an older woman, maybe
Yeah.
talking to a younger woman, and then
Mm.
somebody called Robert Kerry says, "Any man who craves peace of mind over sex won't be bothering with women at all."
Won't be bothering women at all. Yeah.
And it's one
Yeah.
of those comments, isn't it? It's like, well, I guess that's funny because it's true, right? But to
Yeah.
what extent, I wondered, and I'm not a big fan of the casual idea that men only think about sex all the time, but some might do, some
Mm.
might do, and it's down to
Oh. Oh. He's gone again. Look, he was just getting into his flow then. Did you see that? He was just getting into his flow and he's gone. Oregonians loving Portugal. It's fantastic to say bom dia, Carl, but he seems to have disappeared. Minus 13 Fahrenheit here in Montana this afternoon. I don't know what that means. Minus 13 Fahrenheit. Can anyone help me? I'm not old enough to remember. I know the Americans still use this Fahrenheit, but I'm guessing that's pretty cold, right? Minus 13 Fahrenheit. What is that in modern speak? Minus 13 Fahrenheit to centigrade. Minus 25. Well, that is very, very cold. Very, very cold indeed. Yeah. So what Carl is talking about, this topic that he's interested in, is do men only think about sex? And the reason this came up is because I saw a meme the other day, which was, I think it was a woman who'd written it, and she'd said to women, try and find a man who's gotten past the only being interested in sex and is now just looking for some peace. And then someone had replied, if you find a man who's gotten past looking for sex and is only looking for peace, he's probably not going to be interested in finding a woman. So we thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, crypto, minus 25 degrees. That would certainly be colder than I would be happy to experience. Minus 25. I'm not sure it's the coldest I've ever. I think I remember when I lived in Sweden, one Christmas, was it Boxing Day? Yeah, Boxing Day. My friends used to have a tradition. We used to go to, it's called Skånes Djurpark, which was this kind of deer park in the middle of Skåne, and they would always go there on Boxing Day, and we went there with them, and I think it was minus 17. And I'm pretty sure that would have been perhaps the coldest I've ever experienced. Yeah. But what about you guys? What's the coldest you've ever experienced? I would hope that minus 13 Fahrenheit in Montana is the most you've ever experienced. Yeah, Oregonians loving Portugal. So we're certainly never going to experience minus 25 here, even if we are up on top of the mountain, which I can see from my home today. It has got snow on it, but balmy 8 degrees here in central Portugal.
Okay,
is this Carl? Is this Carl coming? Is this Carl coming back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
men think about freezing as well as sex, Carl. Yeah.
Especially this time of year. Well, what occurred to me, Tony, is that men probably don't think about sex or love, for that matter, as much as they might have done. Because we hear now, don't we, that young men are obsessed with other matters and can't speak to the opposite sex. I mean, this is assuming that we're talking in a heterosexual context here. It might be the same with same-sex interest, but it seems to me that the whole idea of being obsessed by sex is quite a 70s and 80s thing, and we might have moved on a bit. And more's the pity, I would say. A healthy interest in the carnal pleasures is you might say our species depends upon it, and it's one of those things that's been made unfashionable and apparently unpleasant, which is a terrible shot in the foot, as it were.
Well, I mean, I suppose obviously everyone's different. So, I can only speak from like my own experience, and
best place to speak from.
And then kind of generalize, I suppose.
Yes.
But I think definitely speaking from my own experience, when I was younger, I was definitely more interested. But I think the other thing is I definitely enjoyed the company. Like I didn't just look at girls as sex objects. Although obviously I hope to get a shag, you know what I mean? But
very honest.
But I liked them as well. I liked them. I thought they were interesting, and they kind of they're interesting. I think they're very different to men. I'm not into this modern way of thinking that we're all kind of the same. I think it's absolute rubbish. I think
does anyone still
so
say that?
Different?
Isn't that also got to a postmodern stage rather than? I mean, that sounds quite 80s.
I don't know, but what I've heard, because I've seen a few YouTube videos about the modern sort of dating thing, and apparently a lot of people find it, like I noticed this as well, because because I've been single for a while, and I joined I don't know why I joined it. I joined this, like, I think I joined it just to stir the pot, really, but I joined this singles group on Facebook, and
that's great.
The first thing I noticed was
because why is it a singles group? Is it a singles group for people who want to be single, or a singles group?
I don't know. I don't know what it's meant to be, but
okay.
Well, I did notice what I heard a lot of people say, which is because I've seen these YouTube videos and they talk about dating and that, and they say the difficulty is there's a difference between what men and women want, right?
Yeah.
And so, for example, and I think this holds true, I don't care. Like if I meet a girl, and this has been for my whole life, I couldn't care less what her position in life is. I don't care whether she's a graduate. I don't care how much money she's got. I don't care what her job is.
Yeah.
Those things don't interest me at all. I
Yeah.
couldn't care less how much she's got in the bank, whatever, right?
Yes.
Whereas women tend to
Oh, is this what you were finding in the singles group? Were you being grilled
well,
about
no, I think this has always been like this. I think this has always been. I think women generally are interested in things like how much you earn, how tall you are.
You guys are in the same group, by the sound. Okay.
Maybe.
Oh, and so you're suggesting that women are far more obsessed and picky, and the sort of have the characteristics that you would look down on in men, but women are quite happy to rock those requirements and speak of them and be quite superficial in that way.
Yeah, maybe. But what was interesting is what I saw on the Facebook group, right? I saw exactly because I made a point of saying, I said, listen, what's very funny is most of you women have most of you women haven't even got pictures in your bios. And I said, for example, Mary, you're not a horse, right? So you got a picture of a horse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no one's gonna want to date you. Okay. So anyway, and then
you said that.
What? Yeah. So I said this is a very funny dating site, right? Because most people have got their like, you know, when you're on Facebook, you can stop people from reading your.
Yeah,
you can set your audience. So like, look at this. Half of you on here have got your thing set to private, right? So what's anyone supposed to do? How's this going to work? So I said, right, I'm going to start. And I said, right, so my name's Tony, and I wrote a little CV of who I am and all that. Yeah. And then a few of them wrote their little CV. And actually what it was just a list of what the band must have.
Really?
So for example, the next woman was like, and I really ripped into her. I said this because she said to me, right, this is me. My name's Miranda. She said, my perfect man must have this. My perfect man must be spiritual. My perfect man must love dancing. And then last of all, he must love children because I have 4 children. And I'm like, listen to this. You've got 4 kids, right? Yeah. You got 4 kids, and then you got a list of demands of what the man must have. Yeah. I'm like, you better be telling me what you're going to offer me. Wow. You got 4 kids.
How did that go?
No, not very well. Angry emojis. People are angry.
Angry emojis.
Yeah. And then some other, and then some other women were like, you know, my man doesn't need to.
What is this a singles? Oh, yeah, they're potential.
Yeah. Some of these people were like, you know, I've already been successful, and I've got this, and I've got my business and all that. And I'm trying to say, look, I can't speak for the other men on here, but to me, you sound like a man. You're talking to the way you're talking to me. You sound like a man. You sound like a man.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? This is how men talk. I don't care. I don't care if you're.
There you are trying to start a conversation, because that's quite a good approach, isn't it? You know, a bit of conversation. But I guess
no, but you know what I mean. I don't care if you're being big, successful businesswoman or whatever. It's not interesting for me at all. Okay. As a man, and I think a lot of men. I mean, maybe I could put it out to the group and see what do you guys think, because I really think, you know, I really think it's ridiculous. I mean, what didn't help as well, because I was married for 16 years, right? And I don't know if this has happened to anyone else, but I said this in the group as well. I got in a lot of trouble for this. I said, another problem I'm really having, guys, because they said, what age are you looking for? And I said, okay, let's say 35 to 45. And they go, well, you're 52. Why should you know? And I said, well, 2 things. I remember when I was young, all the girls were always going for guys a little bit older, right? So I said, that hasn't changed. You're not suddenly going to get guys younger than you. And I said, and I'm going to be brutally honest with you, most of the women on here about my age, they look like my mum's friends or something.
Oh, you're so popular on this group, clearly.
Yeah, they didn't like that at all. They didn't like that at all.
some
But I was
reason-
honest. I said, look, I
some
know I must also look 52, but I'm just telling you the truth.
Yeah.
A lot of you, you know,
They
you're
can't
just not
handle the
attra-
truth, Tony.
You're
They
just
can't
not
handle
you're just
the truth.
not attractive anymore.
I would like
you
to
know what I mean?
continue this. I'm a romantic. I love women.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, and you know, I think it's a great conversation to have, and maybe we can give a little bit of help to these younger fellas who seem to be struggling in this department. But I need to finish because I've got my Portugal Club wine club tonight, the Good Morning Portugal wine club, which starts at 8 o'clock. But before then, I'm very keen to know if anything interesting, apart from being in these debacles in singles groups, which, I mean, it sounds like calling it a singles group is quite a good way to keep it that way, isn't it? You know, they're not calling it a meet people.
Yeah, it's
group,
silly.
are they?
There's another one. I joined another one, which is I actually went out at Christmas dinner with them. They're quite nice.
Oh, is this
people.
a funny story you're about to share?
No. Well, it could be.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Well, no, it's just in that group they actually have in the heading. This group isn't for people to meet people. This is yeah. It's crazy how they
spin-off of
present it.
Portugal propaganda. Maybe.
Yeah. But I did actually. Funny enough, I met more than one person there, so I did have
you?
some luck. Yeah,
Oh, well done,
and
mate.
I'm still going out with them today. Identical twins.
Really? So
Yeah,
you went to
really.
this group and you had a couple of dates with identical twins.
With identical twins, and people keep saying to me, "Don't you have any trouble telling them apart?"
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I can understand why people would ask. And do you have any trouble telling them apart, Tony?
Well, no, because Jeff always has a mustache.
Munson and the Geezer. Munson and the Geezer. Reporting from the scene. Munson and the Geezer. News in every ride.